Most of the AI experts believe that sometime in the next 5 to 20 years, we'll make AIs that are smarter than people, and they'll probably end up much smarter than people. And there's very few examples we know of smarter things being controlled by less smart things. In fact, pretty much the only example we know is a mother being controlled by her baby. To make that happen, evolution built maternal instincts into the mother. And if we don't do something like that with these alien beings that we're creating, we're going to be history.
How hard is it from just a technological perspective to actually build motherly instinct? I mean, is there an example of that being done at all, or has that happened at all?
The only real example we have is evolution. Evolution obviously made a pretty good job of it with mothers. People haven't been focusing on that. They've been focusing on making these things more intelligent. But intelligence is just one part of a being. We need to make them have empathy towards us. And we don't know how to do that yet. But evolution managed it, and we should be able to do it too.
You know, we've heard from so many people, leaders in the tech field, who say, well, look, if the U.S. doesn't win this war, this battle for dominance in the AI world, a rogue nation, a country that's an enemy of the United States, China, Russia, they're going to have AI. If China is not developing AI that has maternal instincts, and the U.S. is the only one who has maternal instincts, does that not make them, is that not making them weaker in this war for dominance?
Well, there are many risks of AI, like cyber attacks and loss of jobs and making nasty viruses. But one of the risks is this existential threat that AI will take over. And for that threat, all the countries will collaborate because they're all in the same boat. No country wants AI to take over. Just as the USSR and the Americans collaborated at the height of the Cold War, countries will collaborate on how to prevent AI from taking over from people.
The obvious question is, does that pretend AI becoming self-aware, and could that lead to dire consequences?
I certainly don't exclude the concept. We have a couple people who are actually working on this topic. Well, as crazy as it sounds, do AI systems have morally significant feelings? I would guess that they don't right now. But when you run an AI company, these crazy seeming questions are things that you study. So I would say this is probably not the case now, but again, the field is advancing so fast that I don't think you can exclude even crazy sounding things like this.
Do you still believe that 10 to 20% chance of AIs wiping out humans is possible?
Oh yes, if we can't figure out a solution to how we can still be around when they're much smarter than us and much more powerful than us, we'll be toast.
What do you think? I mean, it's stunning to me that this technology, it's already changing things, but the tidal wave of change that we are going to be seeing shortly and are already seeing, that it's being run by people who are not elected. These are people, who are making billions of dollars doing this. Nobody ever really elected them. There's been no consensus agreement that, yes, this is good for humanity. Do you think the average person, and I include myself in that grouping, understands what is about to happen here?
No, I think they don't. And I think it's important for the public to understand it. We need a counter pressure to the tech bros who are saying there should be no regulations on AI. And also we need the countries to understand they need to collaborate on how to avoid the existential threat.
What do you think it does to initiative for, I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. I'm very worried about, what world they're going to have in 10 years if there's machines that do everything better than humans do. What's the initiative for people to strive to become good at something?
One thing we know about mothers is mothers genuinely care about their babies, and they do whatever they can to make life interesting for the babies and to make the babies grow and realize their full potential. So if we have super intelligent AI looking after us, we may be able to get the same thing.
From what I hear, the AI of today has already changed what it means to be a student by a pretty considerable degree. That's what I sense, and I think it's true. But of course, the impact of AI goes beyond that. What happens to the kind of work we do? Well, it's starting to change a little bit in some unknown and unpredictable ways. And some work may feel it sooner, some work might feel it later. With today's AI, you can go on Twitter and you can look at what AI can do and what people say. And you might feel a little bit of that. You wonder, hey, which skills are useful, which ones will be less useful. So you got these questions going on. And so you can say that the current level of challenge is, how will it affect work and our careers? But the real challenge with AI is that it's really unprecedented and really extreme, and it's going to be very different in the future compared to the way it is today. Like, we've all seen AI, we've all spoken to a computer, and a computer has spoken back to us, which is a new thing. Computers would not do this in the past, but now they do. So you speak to a computer, and it understands you, and it speaks back to you, and it also does it in voice, and it writes some code. It's pretty crazy. But there are so many things it cannot do as well, and it's so deficient. So you can say it still needs to catch up on a lot of things. But it's evocative. It's good enough that you can ask yourself, you could imagine, okay, fine. In some number of years, some people say it's in 3, some people say it's in 5, 10, numbers are being thrown around. It's a bit hard to predict the future. But slowly but surely, or maybe not so slowly, AI will keep getting better. And the day will come when AI will do all the things that we can do. Not just some of them, but all of them. Anything which I can learn, anything which any one of you can learn, the AI could do as well. How do we know this, by the way? How can I be so sure? How can I be so sure of that? The reason is that all of us have a brain, and the brain is a biological computer. That's why. We have a brain, the brain is a biological computer. So why can't a digital computer, a digital brain, do the same things? This is the one-sentence summary for why AI will be able to do all those things. Because we have a brain, and the brain is a biological computer.
The way that Silicon Valley and OpenAI leading the charge has really approached AI development is very much an embodiment of the way Silicon Valley has developed technology over the last decade, which is growth at all costs. They have really chosen to pursue AI models that are extraordinarily large. They require a lot of data, a lot of labor, a lot of computational resources, which has environmental implications. And my greatest concern is that we are pursuing a path of AI development that is extremely harmful to a lot of people around the world.
In terms of jobs?
In terms of jobs, in terms of their environmental health, their ability to access economic opportunity, to access quality information. And AI is a beneficial technology if we can also mitigate all of the ways that the supply chain of the current
one is
version
worse
of AI
than the other
development.
at the moment.
Yeah, so there are many different types of AI technologies.
But you see, is there a line at which you say to yourself, this is actually going to improve people's lives, it's going to improve productivity to a level where it's going to create economic efficiencies, going to create opportunities, all sorts of things, or do you see that that's sort of a fantasy?
No, so I think there are AI technologies that tackle very specific challenges and are well scoped. That is very different from general AI technologies that are supposedly meant to do anything. If we can target AI towards problems that AI is very good for, optimization problems, computational problems, healthcare, towards integrating more renewables into the grid. These are things that AI is very good at. They are also well scoped, so it's not nebulous how you should be applying AI in that situation. But right now, these Silicon Valley companies are trying to make everything machines. And when you're trying to make everything machines, not only are they not going to be high quality in everything, people are going to have a fundamental misunderstanding about how they should be using these technologies, and inevitably it is going to harm them.
So you can start asking yourselves, what's going to happen? What's going to happen when computers can do all of our jobs, right? Those are really big questions. Those are dramatic questions. And right now, like, you start thinking about it a little bit, you go, gosh, that's a little intense. But it's actually only part of the intensity. Because what's going to happen? What will we, the collective we, want to use these AIs for? Do more work, grow the economy, do R&D, do AI research, so then the rate of progress will become really extremely fast, for some time at least. These are such extreme things. These are such unimaginable things. So right now I'm trying to pull you into that a little bit, into this headspace of this really extreme and radical future that AI creates. But it's also very difficult to imagine. It's very, very difficult to imagine. It's very difficult to internalize and to really believe on an emotional level. Even I struggle with it. And yet the logic seems to dictate that this very likely should happen. So what does one do in such a world? You know, there is a quote which is like this, which goes like this. It says, you may not take interest in politics, but politics will take interest in you. So the same applies to AI many times over. And in particular, I think that by simply using AI and looking at what the best AI of today can do, you get an intuition. You get an intuition. And as AI continues to improve in 1 year, in 2 years, in 3 years, the intuition will become stronger. And a lot of the things that we are talking about now, they will become much more real. They'll become less imaginary. In the end of the day, no amount of essays and explanations can compete with what we see with our own senses, with our own 2 eyes. And especially with AI, the very smart, super intelligent AI of the future, there will be very profound issues about making sure that they say what they say and not pretend to be something else. And I'm really condensing a lot into a small amount of information here, in time here. But overall, by simply looking at what AI can do, not ignoring it, when the time comes, that will generate the energy that's required to overcome the huge challenge that AI will pose. And the challenge that AI poses, in some sense, is the greatest challenge of humanity ever. And overcoming it will also bring the greatest reward. And in some sense, whether you like it or not, your life is going to be affected by AI to a great extent. And so looking at it, paying attention, and then generating the energy to solve the problems that will come up, that's going to be the main thing.